what you want to do.
You were thinking about doing a little filming too. What would be best?
He's filming right now. When you walk in these doors, it's happening.
We got plenty of purple. It wouldn't be a day in work without purple.
I almost wore my openly shirt today, but I was like, nah, that'll be a little corny.
It's been awesome, man.
The prior tenant, it was supposed to actually be a shipping container in here, but it wouldn't fit. So they fashioned these doors to be kind of like shipping container doors. And so their name was Container Yard, so that's the yard basically. But I hid all my daughter's crap in here and that sort of thing. But so yeah, so this is where the magic happens. Kind of having issues at the other space, and so I was like fussing to my wife one day. I was like, I really don't want to renew this lease. And she was like, well, what's your dream office? And I was like, the old Container Yard space. They had moved out. They'd been vacant 2 years, and they moved down the street. And she was like, go ask them what they want. And I asked them, and this was like in the middle of COVID. Yeah, that's where it started, in that room right there. I actually sat right here. There was a desk right here. So Johnny, our producer, I came in here. Johnny's like the coolest guy you'll ever meet. Like literally, he's just a cool guy. He has a podcast called The Crusader of Cool. And he was in a band, like a legit like touring band. And then advertising wise, like he's worked on campaigns for like Nokia and all that, like really cool dude. And I'd admired him for a while and I didn't know him. And I came in here to pitch him taking on an insurance podcast. I'm like, this guy's gonna think I'm like the most boring dude ever. And I pitched it to him and he was a little skeptical, but he got it. I remember him saying, so it's a marketing podcast, it's just for, I was like, exactly. And now we're his biggest show. And he's like, he goes to like these little like podcast conventions and he's like, you're not gonna believe I'm my biggest show. It's an insurance podcast. You know, you're never gonna believe this. So yeah. So.
The net is wide, man. I mean, you think about the market, there's so many agents out there, and you're not just speaking to the high agent or, you know.
The captive is, well, it's one of those things too. It's like you can be in a niche, but there may be 200,000 people in that niche. So that's a big, you know, you're shooting with you're spearfishing rather than throwing a cast net. And all of them came in super cheap, and now they're having to draw back.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
I love the strategy of coming in conservative and then loosening up as long as the loosening up piece happens. The other thing too, from a marketing standpoint, all the carriers are shifting to percentages, even the ones that have never been, like the and the, you know, was the first one to do it. And I worked at when they made that transition, and it was awful. It pissed everybody off because they don't want to do math, right? Tell me what my deductible is. So I think even from a marketing standpoint, hey, it's a flat deductible. You don't have to worry about those percentages. Could even be a leg up too, a little bit. Even though I think on the slider it is a percentage, but
You don't want to be the one size fits all market. You know, if we were, we'd be great for it, correct? But we don't want every customer that wants to work. So you've got to have options to be able to sell.
so it's the best way to get your customer acquisition costs as a carrier to the floor is through agents rather than selling direct to consumer, because what all these guys find out, like Lemonade and Hippo and even Swift tried direct to consumer when they first started, quietly they find out the cost to acquire customers absolutely through the roof, and usually the ones you get are not your target customers. Whereas you go through an agent who has options, we're gonna put, at least us and most of these guys here, I'm sure, you know, we're gonna put the perfect client for you. We just have to find out who that is in coastal Alabama. And you know, when you're thinking about rates, just remember the wind blows harder in Baldwin County. Okay. I bet you that a large percentage of people that have those street legal golf carts probably have second homes. There's it's an indication of other things, you know. Correct. So it's gotta be you got to kind of know in the back of your head, hey, if we find this person in this zip code with this type of, and it's for small bop, and what the carriers are specifically looking for is how many questions does Liberty ask on a restaurant versus us? And so then they know if they're asking 25 different questions on their supplement and this carrier is able to do it with just assumptions, that's a competitive advantage for that particular carrier. So you can look at things like that too. But yeah, I stayed about 3 too long. I wish I'd have left about 3 years earlier.
Well, if I had been your age when I made the right decisions, I would have.
So when I left, the day that I left, I had several agents in our district, and we had a seasoned district, and I had so many people call me and say that exact thing. If I don't know what you're doing, but I know what you're doing, and if I could have done it 10 years ago, I would have. Because what happens is I've sold since I left. Zero. I've referred a bunch. Okay, a lot of the stuff I talk about is going to appeal to PNC, but life insurance people can take it. And you know Josh Knoll?
Yeah.
Okay.
You too, man. I enjoy your podcast.
Thank you.
Great that y'all do that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. The only reason we do it is to help people.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I get to do cool stuff like this and meet you guys, so it's awesome.
Well, it's just good to be able to turn that on because it's really easy to get caught up in tracking your numbers. You get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, and it's easy to get discouraged.
Well, it's so easy to. I'm going to talk about this a little bit today. You know, insurance industry is the best industry in the world, but it's very easy to get complacent, and before people are lapping you know. And that are doing those things that way everybody can hear it, and you know, so.
You're not alive, and that claims podcast was awesome. The claims
Scott is
pandemic,
passionate.
I haven't
that was
listened to
last
it yet.
week.
See, I told her, I said, because I got a 10-month-old in the house, so like I really have to focus on carving.
I've got a 3-month-old, so
really?
I'm with you. Yeah.
Is this your first one?
Second.
Second?
Yeah. But the first one's 8,
Okay.
so
Stop work or
2 months. Yeah, 2 months and 2 days.
Nice.
And I have not slept since September the 4th.
I'm at 10 months, and it hasn't gotten much better.
Yeah.
but then you got into teething. Once you
I
think
know.
you're sleeping, you start teething.
I know. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is there some kind, speed to post is so important when it comes to especially social media. I mean, I talk to insurance agents that think that he and I have this like elaborate content thing planned out for weeks, and it's literally like day to day. It is so close to throwing stuff up against the wall, you'd be shocked. But figure out, and I don't know that much about y'all's compliance, but when I was at Alpha, I had to deal with their compliance, and what I would suggest is say, okay, what's a vertical and what's a thing that I can talk about without having to every single time kiss the ring, right? And just go deep dive into that, and then that's how you build trust to expand. Best thing you can do is tell your story. We have a YouTube series we do called Making Donuts that's essentially behind the scenes of our agency, and that is the whole ethos behind it. Is we want people to know our story and know what's going on and fall in love with us to where it just makes sense for them to do business with us. Sorry for the rant. It's exactly what you do. So for me, I did it by myself. I did it by myself longer than he's been doing it for me. And what I did is I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, and 5 to 5:45 was my creative time. And that's very important too if you're doing everything yourself, is figuring out, okay, when am I the most creative? At least for me, I'm not very creative, believe it or not. Like, I have to force it. It has to be the right, everything, right? So find that time, and you've got to prioritize it, honestly. And then I would also suggest maybe have in the back of your head, okay, Monday is motivational day, Tuesday is life insurance day, Wednesday's this. That way you have some kind of plan And then what'll happen is eventually it'll become second nature. And where you want to be is think about, and this is a very popular saying, but it rings true, think about documenting versus creating. And I'm going to clarify some of the things that I said too, is you need to find your thing. So for us, my thing is podcasting, and we video those podcasts. That doesn't mean you just want to be on one platform. If her daughter builds a huge following on TikTok, which I'm sure she has, and doesn't focus on any other platforms, doesn't try to siphon that audience up, and TikTok goes away, which if y'all remember about a year ago, Trump was talking about banning it in the US. TikTok can go away like that. You know, the #1 insurance agent on MySpace doesn't exist anymore, right? So you need to be everywhere. You need to have some kind of presence everywhere, even as simple as, okay, I'm putting my content on my pillar platform, I'm just gonna cross post. I'd rather you do that than not have a presence. So that's super important. And then also on the Google My Business is a platform. Jay asked me to clarify that. That's a platform. So that's where you list your business on Google. The best way to hide a dead body is on the second page of Google. Do whatever you can to get on the first page of Google. Because everything comes to the insurance industry like 3 years after every other industry. But that's an advantage. That's a good thing, because we can pay attention to other industries and we can spot what's coming here next. So this embedded insurance trend, I see the opportunity. I'm also afraid a little bit because, you know, insurance is never, and I'm mainly speaking towards PNC now, but insurance is not the thing, right? Nobody's excited when they have to deal with me, right? Like, I'm at best like the third most exciting thing in their day. They're never looking forward to me, right? Anything, I'm the least person they want to deal with that day. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, right? And our agency, we specialize in several niches in PNC, but the main one we specialize in are new home buyers. You buy a new home in Mobile, there's a strong chance that either your lender or your realtor sends you to me. Very, very strong chance. And the reason we do, and every PNC agent tries the lender realtor thing. The reason we do so good is we recognize that your only goal is to close on the house. It is not to buy an insurance policy. We are the thing that gets you to the thing. And so what's happening in the insurance industry right now is these direct-to-consumer insurance carriers are realizing, hey, if we try to run ads, if we try to do commercials, if we try to do Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff, our customer acquisition cost is outrageous, right? But a lot of them don't have the infrastructure, and that's the real reason that startup insurance carriers don't appoint agents. They say it's because they don't have to pay a commission. It's not that. They don't have the infrastructure to handle the agents. That's really what it is. So what they are doing is they are going to services like Amazon, like maybe a title company, and they are embedding their product in that process. The issue with that, it's a massive opportunity because all of us can do some version of that, right? And I expect a lot of you have very different marketing channels than I do, so figure out how this applies to the financial services industry. But here's what he's dealing with. He's dealing with insurance agents calling him mad because he's basically swiping their clients before they ever have a chance to get to that agent's desk. And to me, that is, agents are never going away. We will always be here. It's been proven. We made it through the last 5, 6, 10 years of InsurTech. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, I think the biggest threat to agents is this embedded insurance because we do not have a chance to get to that client before the insurance policy is sold. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I say all that to say there's 2 ways you combat that. One is you find embedded insurance opportunities for yourself, right? Think of it as the 21st century version of going to the, lawn care guy and say, hey, if you have any clients that need help, send them to me, and that sort of thing, right? It's a 21st century version of old school networking. The second way, and you really win if you do both, the second way is you build your brand. That's ultimately what's going to separate you from everybody else, because insurance is not a commodity, but every single thing in this world is getting more and more commoditized on a day-to-day basis. Would everybody agree with that? And honestly, it doesn't matter what we think of our product, it matters what our client thinks of our product. And the majority of our clients probably think our product is somewhat commoditized. I guarantee you they think it's more commoditized than we do. The only separation is the advice that Jimmy gives, or the fact that Jimmy knows these people, right? Your brand, your personal brand. So I implore you to do one of those two things, because just like Conrad Gessner, there's nothing we can do to stop books. There's nothing we can do to stop this technology. The only thing we can do is embrace it and ride the wave. Does that make sense? You know?
Bradley, hey,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank y'all.
So Peter and Marie.
Hey, Bradley, nice to meet you.
Can we take a picture with you real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Easy, so we gotta go this way.
He can get it too.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and more.
It's not my good side, Diane.
Okay, let's try it. Open
I don't
it
have a
up
good
right
side. I have all bad sides.